All right.
We're here.
What was the song?
Die Young, Kesha.
Oh, you got to keep that.
I mean, yes. No.
Oh.
Wrong song.
Okay.
That's We Are Young.
Oh, my
Like
fault.
we're gonna die young.
Oh, there we go.
Like we're gonna die young.
Yeah, we're keeping that. We're keeping that.
Young hearts out our minds, run until we out of time. $. Big Kesha supporters on this. Good way to start the show.
My wife.
Because after the next 2 week schedule, I really hope I'm not dying young.
My wife, when she was on the birth control pill, her song was one of the Kesha songs. To like the alarm would play. Love Drug. Is it? Does she like so that?
Your love.
So that whenever I hear that song, I think, it's time for somebody to take some
birth.
birth control. Let's get it going.
Funny.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was good stuff.
I want to have a birth control song.
You gotta get a birth control song.
Mine is just the waking of dawn. Here I am brushing my teeth.
Just in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the routine.
I got you. But you should play a song when
But
you
I
do it.
should.
Yes.
I should make it a special occasion.
Yes.
We need more special occasions in this world.
We need more birth control songs in this world. That's what we need.
I have to think of a good one. My brain is not functioning at full capacity. Oh, yes, that's the
Okay.
one.
I didn't say
I
that
know
out
you didn't
loud.
say it into the microphone, but that's the one. That is absolutely the one. What's up, everybody? It is Monday, March 3rd, our first show of March. It's going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass coming up on today's show. A little Grizzlies therapy to start the week. Losers of 2 games over the weekend, one against the Knicks, one against the Suns by a grand total of 3 points overall. Grizzlies now the 4th seed in the West. Oh no, we will dive into all of it. On top of that, it's another Grizzlies game day with the Hawks in town tonight. Gary Parrish will join us about 40 minutes in. We'll continue the conversation with him, talk some college basketball. The Memphis Tigers with a big win over UAB, now 1 win away from locking up their first regular season AAC title. And then we will get into some other things from the weekend, such as the greatness that is JuJu Watkins, the greatness that was the Oscars. I will never get over the Open, and Enora is your best picture. It's a beautiful day. You know what we say.
Happy Women's History Month.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Bane, a pump fake, a 3, it's through for Desmond Bane. FBK, fly by King. Wheels through the lane, now spins back. Ja hangs, puts it in! Oh, what a shot by Morant in the clutch. So hot. Oh, Jared said no! Because he doesn't put on a play, comes up with a monster block.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping. It's gonna be crazy. The fans are gonna be loud. We need just energy.
Behind the back to Jared for the flush.
We're gonna need, the form rocking. We're gonna need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3, yes sir! Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Bane drives.
Oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jared with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Morant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go! Let's go!
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzlies stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy March. Hope everyone had a great weekend or a weekend. I personally would like to thank the Academy, literally, for making my weekend better, along with JuJu Watkins. That is 4 straight wins for USC over UCLA and a Big Ten regular season title. We'll get into that more later in the show. The Memphis Tigers men's basketball team, those were reasons for me to smile and experience joy over the weekend because, let's just be honest, the Memphis Grizzlies led to a lot of stressed and depressed feelings from Friday and Saturday night right here at FedEx Forum. The Memphis Grizzlies, CJ, entered the weekend, the 2 seed in the Western Conference. Can you tell me where they are coming out of the weekend? 4! Not the good 4, which is the USC beating UCLA in women's basketball the last 4 straight times. I will say it as many times as physically possible. But the bad 4, because it shows how easily you can take a little tumble in these Western Conference standings. 1.5 games now separate between the 2nd and the 5th seed in the Western Conference, and you have the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Grizzlies, and the Rockets all jumbled up there in the middle. Of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder have made their status as the #1 team in the Western Conference pretty solidified at this point. I don't have to remind anyone that if you were the, God forbidden, 5th seed, you don't get home court advantage. It can feel so bad. It can feel so bad so quickly. And for the Grizzlies, who have now lost 5 of their last 7 games, their only wins have been a 1-point win over the Orlando Magic and an overtime win over the dead and buried Phoenix Suns. But I will say, because I've seen some weird discourse, those wins do count, because it would be a lot worse if you did not have the 1-point win over the Orlando Magic or the overtime win over the dead and buried Phoenix Suns. But the Grizzlies do. They did experience 2 heartbreakers. Heartbreakers. My stress levels were insane from Friday to Saturday. I was glad to have a full Sunday to decompress before we got back into this fun-filled studio. But here is how it all went down. On Friday night, the Grizzlies hosted the New York Knicks. They played so hard. They didn't trail until the 4th quarter, which was back and forth, and then Jalen Brunson hits a 3 to give the Knicks a lead with 24 seconds, but that's okay because Ja Morant had his phone in his pocket, and we had another Call 12 moment, and I'm like, we're going to have 2 Call 12 games in a row? 2 of them? My mom is texting me, like, does it always have to be a nail biter? And I'm like, apparently it does, but as long as Ja Morant answers the call, it's going to be okay. And then OG Anunoby was What did we say we were going to start saying? Booty buck naked, open from three. Booty bucket naked, open from three. That's the way that we would call that. Knicks win 114-113. Okay. So then you come into the building on Saturday. Seems like an appropriate bounce back opportunity for the Grizzlies against a flailing San Antonio Spurs team that without Victor Wembanyama had not won a game, and they lost Victor Wembanyama for the season. So they go from chasing a play-in tournament position to where are they going to fall in the tanking part of this season, and where will they end up in the draft. So no Wemby for the Spurs. And then the Grizzlies end up not having Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Vince Williams Jr., and Brandon Clark. And then the Grizzlies give up 46 points in the second quarter, and the Grizzlies trail by 22. And they fight all the way back, and by God, was Jaren Jackson Jr. awesome. But then De'Aaron Fox hits a jumper, and the Grizzlies lose 130-128, which leads me to my big question, CJ. My big question of the weekend is, which loss felt worse? Which loss, the 1-point loss to the Knicks on Friday or the 2-point loss to the Spurs on Saturday, felt worse to you?
The 1-point loss to the Knicks. I thought the loss to the Spurs was eye-opening. The loss to the Knicks was the tough one. You had everybody out there. You led most of that game. You do get the call 12 moment, and you're up in that game when that last second shot goes in. And so, like, that's the one that felt the worst to me. Another one of those good teams. Again, however you want to describe these teams, knock yourself out, but there is a clear tier, and the Knicks are in whatever tier is just behind Cavs, Thunder, and Cavs, who needed overtime, I think, against the Trailblazers to win over the weekend.
But also went down 25-3 to the Celtics and then came back and beat the Celtics.
And Celtics, right? So that it's those three, and then there's a next tier, and I think the Knicks are in that tier, and those are the types of games that you would like to see the Grizzlies win, and I would think the Grizzlies are in that tier of teams also. Well, now, where they fall in that tier, we can discuss, but they're in that tier also. Another one of those games where it's like, hey, this is a playoff team, a good playoff team. You need to get out there and show that you can beat a good playoff team, and you're at home also. This isn't a road game. This is at home, so my thought is, hey, you get home court advantage. Doesn't matter what you do on the road. You're great at home. You beat good teams at home all the time. You take care of business at home, and the Grizzlies weren't able to do it. And it's like, this doesn't feel great.
So I think, understandably, like meaningful basketball-wise, the Knicks loss feels worse. However, as I sat there on Sunday trying to conclude my answer to this question, like the Spurs game felt worse. Like watching a team give up 46 points in the second quarter, because that becomes an effort, energy, defense issue, and it's 46 points in the second quarter after you saw this team give up 50 points in a second quarter. I think the Spurs loss exacerbated the Knicks loss, because we easily could have come in here, if there was only the Knicks game on Friday, by the time you get here on Monday, sure, there are things to criticize and there are reasons. We don't do moral victories, but you're right in there. You held the lead. Two very good teams playing a high-level basketball game, and the Grizzlies come up one shot short. You could hypothetically, I wasn't doing it after the game, but hypothetically after a couple of days, you can have your head held high and be like, you know what? There was a lot of good in that game. Ja Morant down the stretch in that game, he seems back. That seems like a positive development over the last handful of games for the Grizzlies. But instead, you look at what happened with the Spurs, and one, it just feels like the urgency of caring about the standings. And Taylor Jenkins spoke after the game and said, you know, we don't have time to pay attention to the standings. And that's fine, neither here nor there. Like, you know where you are in the standings, and the fans certainly know. And watching the lineup that goes out there on Saturday just feels like, all right, are we really just trying to, do we think we're good enough to get out of there against the Spurs, sitting those four players? Now, Brandon Clark got stitches on Friday after taking that Karl Anthony Towns elbow to the face. So I think, you know, there is reason with certainty of why he doesn't play. Vince Williams Jr. seems to still be in a return from injury pattern. Desmond Bane's been pretty damn durable this season. He did take a hard fall on Friday night. John Morant continues to deal with the shoulder soreness, but we haven't had 6 games in a row from John Morant since the 2022-2023 season. And I do want to, challenge people to pause. Like, this isn't necessarily a Ja doesn't want to play on Saturday. This all collectively comes into trying to protect players as much as possible injury-wise, because the main goal, the pot at the end of the rainbow, is the postseason, and you want availability then. But you can still be frustrated that 4 players are out against the Spurs, and you're rolling with a starting lineup with John Conchar, who hadn't played in a month. You're going 11 deep in the second quarter. Just from a sheer how it felt watching that game, it was miserable. And then for Jaren's incredible 42-point performance to ultimately get wasted and buried in a loss made it even worse coming out of it.
Should have went for 50. Those dudes aren't good. I guess.
Yes, he had 7 points in the first 3 minutes, and I thought we were going to see a Jaren Jackson Jr. 50-pointer.
The dudes he's playing with aren't good. It's that time of the season.
At one point, PTSD.
At one point, my wife and I are watching this game, and Scottie Pippen gives great effort, is all over the court trying to get a rebound. And my wife looked at me on the couch and said, hey, at least he's trying. I like Scottie Pippen Jr. It's like, okay, great. Here's my question to you, because this is where we are for me this time of the year. Is you is or is you ain't? Sure. No, but Scottie Pippen is trying to get an offensive rebound. That's great. Did he get it? No. What the hell is the difference in Scottie Pippen trying and other dudes not trying if the result is still the same? Right? You don't get it. If that's going to be the end result, I guess you'd rather have the dude who goes out there and tries, but I'd rather have somebody who can get the job done. And in that game against the Spurs, I felt like Taylor Jenkins was throwing guys out there like, hey, here's your moment. Show me what you got.
Jay Huff.
Show me what you got.
Cam Spencer.
I love Jay Huff. And if I never see him play another second this season, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
I'd be A-okay. And it's not just Jay Huff. There are other names we can throw out there, and Cam Spencer. We can throw other names out there as well. This rotation, I got my 8 now. I know exactly who the 8 are going to be. Yeah. And I know 2 of them, the 2 rookies, ain't going to play all that much. And if whatever you sacrifice on the defensive end, you just have to sacrifice it because they're getting lost anyways. G.G. Jackson is getting lost out there. He's coming back from injury. He's still young. Not saying you close the book on somebody like that. There's obviously potential there. You continue to use him, grow him. Not this year, though. Unless you're telling me, hey, this is a year for continued experience for some of these role players. I would think that this will be the year you make a legit push for everything. And if you're going to make a legit push, that means big minutes for Jaren, Ja, Dez. It means bigger minutes for Santi and Luke Kennard also. Luke Kennard started to heat up in that game. But just looking at Luke Kennard's stats, shot attempts, that should be way up. Luke Kennard is like, he attempts 8th, 6th, 7th, or 8th most shot attempts on this team. It can't be that. It can't be that anymore. We're done. If Jalen Wills is wide open for 3, absolutely take that shot. Jalen, don't do nothing else. Play defense and swing the ball. Move the ball around. Your primary offensive weapons now, if you're going to try and make a legit push, those 5 that I named. And everybody else get in where you fit in. That's what it is. Everybody out there had a chance to show what they were capable of doing against the Spurs, and they showed what they were capable of doing. Not much. So in that game, it falls squarely on Jaren Jackson Jr. to be incredible, to be amazing, and he had a phenomenal game. 42 points. I don't want to make it seem like I'm taking a shot at Jaren, who did everything for that team, especially in the second half. And I was watching the game on the TV, and Jaren is walking onto the court, and he just mouths, hey, fight.
Yep.
Fight. And he goes out there, and he does that. You got to fight with people who are good. And if they're not good, you got to go for 60, Jaren. I don't know what to tell you.
He has truly embraced every single responsibility thrown his way this season. Jaren Jackson Jr. has embraced it and led this team. He has missed 2 games all year. 2 games. And they were the first 2 games of the season. He has played 58 straight for this team. And when he is able to feast, as we saw him do at the beginning of the game on Saturday, and then coming out of the second half where it was clear, give the ball to Jaren Jackson Jr., let him work, because there is nobody on the Spurs team who can guard him. But why that wasn't the game plan the entire time was a little infuriating because when you saw it worked so well. And he's getting to the basket. He's getting to the free throw line. He's making threes. That three that tied it up at the end is an identical play from a game that the Grizzlies played earlier this season where we saw Jaren take and make that exact same three. It was against the Brooklyn Nets. And you want to know what happened to the Grizzlies in that game? They lost. And you want to know what happened to the Grizzlies against the Spurs? They lost. And ultimately, you're not able to sit here and say, wow, thank God for the heroics of Jaren Jackson Jr. because they were able to come back and win that game. But what it comes down to is the giving up of the 46 points in the second quarter. And Santi Aldama had some choice words for the team and their effort levels coming out of that loss to the Spurs over the weekend. We'll get into that. Some more details from the Knicks. We'll go through the end of how that game went down. Ben Stiller's out here tweeting about the Knicks from the Grizzlies game through the Oscars, and it made me angry over the weekend. We'll get into all of it when we come back.
We did get a new shoe that dropped today that we should all be able to get if we want it.
Fire.
And it's been one people have been waiting for a long, long time.
Yep.
Asia Wilson. What do you guys think about the shoe?
I love it.
It looks great. We see people wearing Jaws. We see a lot of people wearing the GT line. But then also we see a lot of NBA players wearing the Sabrinas.
Sabrina, yeah.
I bet you there's going to be a lot of NBA players wearing that.
I agree with you on that.
Oh, yeah.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app. What teams do you think, other than Chiefs and Eagles, are going to be teams to reckon with next season?
I think the Ravens, the 49ers, the Bills, the Lions.
I think the Falcons are going
to
to be good next year.
Well, y'all have had like 4 straight losing record seasons. So.
Yeah, the question is, like, can you just get like 2 guys on defense? Like they scored 38 against the friggin' Panthers and lost the last week of the season. Like, you got to get some stops.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We got Southern Heritage Classic news. Mike, Tennessee State out. Where do you think the Classic goes from here? Is this a thing that sort of dooms this Classic, Southern Heritage Classic?
I don't ever bet against Fred Jones. I don't count Fred Jones out. You have to have the event. You have to continue to have the weekend, and a football game has to be part of it.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing at FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Bain drives.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jaren with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
That's so dope. Let's go.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Welcome back. Disappointing weekend for the Grizzlies. It could significantly turn around rather quickly as you have a game against the Atlanta Hawks, who don't play a whole lot of defense. So perhaps an opportunity for the Grizzlies defense to tighten up tonight against the Hawks. The offense to cook. John Morant is questionable. He's the only one of those players who missed Saturday's game who is questionable going into tonight's game. But then you get the Thunder on Wednesday. And so ultimately, here we go again with another chance at the number one team in the Western Conference here on the home court at FedEx Forum. But let's go chronologically, game by game, the biggest things that we have not yet dived into from each of the Grizzlies games against the Knicks and the Spurs. The final defensive possession for the Grizzlies that ultimately leads to the OG Anunoby made three. Vince Williams Jr. just got lost.
It sound to me like Vince Williams Jr. can't be playing no more.
I don't think that's fair, granted the small sample size that we've gotten from Vince Williams Jr. this season.
We don't have a whole lot of time.
Exactly, which is why it's hard when they don't play the next night against the Spurs. Like, every rep matters. And sure, there's something to be, if you had come out of this weekend with 2 clutch wins, and I think every single game now, the last 5, so starting with the Magic game and going to the game against the Spurs, have all been single-digit games in the final minute. And many of them have been final possession games, at least the last 2 here at home. And then you throw in the game against the Suns that goes to overtime. Those are great learning reps, but they've all been different. Every closing lineup has been different over that stretch. And a part of that is because, 4 players are out come Saturday. But Vince gets lost on the final play, and it leaves Santi having to overhelp. That play wasn't Santi's fault. It was Vince, who for whatever reason ends up chasing Brunson on the backside and isn't able to recover over into the corner for OG Anunoby. My issue is wide open threes has been a trend of this Grizzlies team, and the defense has gone from being pretty solid to now in the last 10 games, they are bottom 7 in the league in defense. You couple that with, I think what got kind of lost on Friday, the 4 of 31 from 3 for the Grizzlies. It was like, oh my God, are they really going to win a game where they just went 4 of 31 from 3? It almost masked the 19 turnovers and the 28 points off of those turnovers. That's been a consistent issue at this point, and especially against the Knicks. And some of it, yes, is the length they throw. But honestly, watching that game really critically, half of those 19 turnovers were unforced. The first play of the game for the Grizzlies was a turnover. Should have known it then. It was Edey wasn't ready for a pass from Ja, I believe. Turn it over, other way. And I don't think the Knicks actually ended up capitalizing on that one because it was all Grizzlies early on. The energy levels from the Grizzlies was fantastic. That did stand out in Friday's game. They cared about that game. I thought the attention to energy was there, even if the attention to detail was not always there with those turnovers. But you cannot have Ja and Desmond Bane combined for 10 turnovers. And that's the same number that they combined for in the game against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. That's really hard to fight against. You can have those 2 combined for 50, and they almost did, but if you have 10 turnovers, and if the Knicks are able to get that many points, or insert team here, able to get that many points off turnovers, those are the things where you look at, it's March 3rd. We've entered March. I don't know if you saw the 8 million trillion tweets. This is March, which I am very excited. It's one of the best times of the year for basketball. But you get to March, then you get to April, and then it's the playoffs. We are less than a month and a half away from the playoffs starting, and I do think the turnovers are still genuinely concerning.
You've got to, one, stop with the dumb ones, and there are some careless, dumb ones, absolutely, as it pertains to turnovers. And 2, you got to protect your teammates. Maybe one day, and I don't want to sound condescending when I say this because he's done some good things this year. He has. He's a really impressive rookie season for Zach Edey. One day he'll be able to catch balls in traffic. One day he'll be able to make catches in traffic unexpectedly, where you can just throw it at him, not to him, at him, and he'll be able to catch it through 3 or 4 hands around him and be able to catch, turn, and finish. That day ain't today. It's probably not going to be this year. It's late enough in the season. We got enough of a sample size where you throw the ball to him, especially in traffic, and for various reasons, he's just unable to grab it quickly and then turn and go up. So stop throwing him the ball like that. You've got to know that as the guard. You've got to know, okay, I can't. If he's on the post up, he's showing me his chest, and all I see is his chest, absolutely throw him the rock. If he's rolling and there's a dude behind him and there's a hand in front of him, don't throw that, pull it out, swing it to somebody else. There's a lot of that happening right now, and I think that is frustrating for everybody. I think it's frustrating for Edey and frustrating for the passer as well. But you can nip all of that in the bud and cut down on turnovers if you stop trying to force Edey the ball on rolls. He's not able to catch it just yet. He's not able to handle that type of physicality just yet. So we're late enough in the season. There's 22 games left. Like, stop doing these things that lend itself to you losing games. Good teams are going to punish you, Jessica. You know that. They're going to punish you if you have 20 turnovers in a game. Hell, bad teams might punish you every now and then if you have 20 turnovers.
Even having 13, which is a smaller number for the Grizzlies against the Spurs had 18 off of those. I mean, when it comes to the Spurs game, anything else from the Knicks game that stood out that you wanted to touch on?
Just 3-point shooting. If you're going to be that bad shooting the three, why are so many people taking threes? Right? Like, I don't understand what goes into that sort of a mindset. And once again, Luke Kennard, who I would love to see Luke Kennard force up a bunch of threes. I feel like he should have a green light to force threes, and some of these other dudes shouldn't. Like, we've got enough on you this year. It's time to make a push. We've done the whole win while also developing, which is great to be able to do. Well, now it's time to just go out there and win. And so the development process will take a back seat for the rest of the year. You are what you are this year, and we'll work to make you a better player in practices and in the offseason and then to start next season. But right now, it's about wins. So some of these dudes who are hoisting these threes, that light needs to be shifted from green to yellow. And for some of them, Vince, red. Don't shoot anymore. Don't shoot. I thought he did a tremendous job catching the ball on the 3-point line against the Knicks, pitting his head down and dribbling, going to the rim. They'd overhelp. He'd go by him, and now you got the defense in conflict, and you get a quality look at the shot there.
He had a couple really nice passes against the Knicks as well. It was frustrating coming out of that game that obviously the Knicks always get a ton of national attention, and it did make me laugh a little bit that Ben Stiller remains absolutely committed to this Knicks team. He is a genuine fan, so much so that during the Oscars last night, he is tweeting about the Knicks win over the Miami Heat. That game went to overtime, and someone was like, "I'm crying. You're at the Oscars." And he's like, "Yes, I care about the Knicks." Also, obviously, was tweeting about the Knicks win over the Grizzlies, but so much became a Jalen Brunson is the clutchest player in the NBA. And you can make an argument for that, but John Moran also exists, and we just saw it. And it's one of those things where all it takes is the first call 12 moment, either ending the game and OG Anunoby doesn't get the open three, or John had a good look at it at the end too. And 10 out of 10 times, I love to see the ball in John Morant's hands. I'll say 9.9999 out of times, only because the whole narrative of multiple closers for this Grizzlies team, like if Jaren Jackson Jr. can also be a closer, could have seen the ball in his hands, but I do think you're always going to trend towards Ja. But they all know it too. That's the opposite side of that coin. When it comes to the game against the Spurs, obviously we've talked about the lineup. Going 11 deep in the second quarter was wild. That 17-2 run really started the energy there. I thought Santi Aldama's comments on the team's energy after the game, like they are aware. And it's good when you're aware and you take accountability for it, because it means it's something that you can challenge yourself and the rest of the team to fix. Santi said the energy is not there. Indiana scored 50 against us in a quarter. The Spurs scored 46. I could sit here and tell you that the energy is there. It's clearly not. We are just letting teams punk us every single night. We make up for it and hope the fourth quarter flips our way. We can't play that way. We are not that team that needs a little bit of luck. We normally set the tone. We haven't been doing that. It's not acceptable. I did think they set the tone against the Knicks, though. funny enough. Like I did feel that.
So what you're saying to me is when a good team comes in, they're ready to play up to their competition, and when a bad one comes in, they kind of don't. That doesn't sound like winning basketball to me. That doesn't sound like what good teams do to me.
That's not something that we saw that early in the year. I just naturally go back to those games against the Nets, but as of late, that has not been the trend for this team. They did feel like they had reached this maturity, this professional win category where, all right, if the team on the other side is not scheduled to make the postseason, well, chalk it up as a good effort from the Grizzlies, set the tone, figure it out. Sometimes they'd slip in the third quarter coming out of the half, but ultimately were able to take care of business against the teams that they were supposed to beat. Obviously, the Spurs was the exact opposite of that. Luke Kennard got ejected. That was not something I was expected to see on a Saturday night, but Luke Kennard ejected for throwing the ball at the stanchion.
Everybody knows that's an ejection.
What
are you doing? Why are you doing that?
I don't know. Well, and the other one was Ja throwing the ball into the stands at the end of the third quarter. They fined him $25,000 for that.
Well, that's what happens when you throw a ball into the stands.
I was surprised that they added a fine. They teed him up during the game. And if you look back, that end of the third into the fourth on the Knicks game, I think the Knicks opened the fourth quarter on a 12-2 run. They got the ball, they got the shot, and that attributed to that early run that got them right back into it. But yes, Luke Kennard has been ejected twice in his career. Both have come in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. I don't remember what Luke's first ejection was. Do you have any recollection of that?
No, I don't.
I feel like I would have remembered it.
I don't remember either. Like I get it. You're passionate. All right, I got you.
He was frustrated.
You've already got the first tech, so you know now you've got one. You can't do anything to get yourself the second tech, and heaving the ball off the stanchion for what? For what?
For what?
Like, stop. Now, was that play frustrating?
No, that sequence was frustrating.
I threw some things in my house after that. But then Luke told, like, I'm not getting tossed out of the game, and if I do, it doesn't matter if I get tossed. Who cares? I'm not any good. I'm just a fan. As a player, you can't do that. You got to have a little bit more composure in that situation.
That stretch was where it had gone from a 1-point game back to 11-point game after I think it was a Champagny 3. And Luke was mad, and then he threw it, and then he gets tossed out of the game. So there's all sorts of things that happened between Friday and Saturday where you're like, well, if this hadn't happened, maybe there's a different outcome. If Brandon hadn't gotten hurt in Friday night's game, maybe there's a different outcome. If Zach Edey doesn't foul De'Aaron Fox on the 3 at the end of the game, maybe there's a different outcome. I actually thought Edey, for the most part, against the Spurs, played one of his better games overall. He ends up with 17 points, 9 rebounds off the bench. Didn't love him coming off the bench because, again, what's the challenge there? Bismack Biyombo? Like, that's all the Spurs have got. I thought Saturday night was a perfect opportunity for Jaren Jackson Jr. and to force feed Zach Edey for a good amount of the game. It happened in spurts, and he was able to take advantage. There were times where you're looking at Zach Edey, you're like, oh my God, no one can stop this man. And granted, it's the Spurs, but at least in that specific sample size, nobody could stop Zach Edey.
What are you playing him for if you're not force feeding him against the Spurs? That's a legit question that I'm asking, because he is a sieve on the defensive side of the ball. They are going by him at will.
And putting him in everything.
Everybody by him at will. So if you're not going to punish the Spurs, are a smaller team right now without Wemby, and they're really, really quick. And so those dudes see Edey, eyes get big, I'm going to the rim. I understand that. That's how basketball works. But Edey, being as big as he is, just dwarfs those other players on the Spurs. So again, if you're not just going to say, all right, we're coming down, we're throwing Edey to the ball on the block, everybody clear out, a la Shaq in the early 2000s, a la Hakeem Olajuwon in the 90s, right? This is what
the tallest kid in your elementary school.
This is what we're doing. So if you're not going to do that, they did it some, but they didn't do it a whole lot. Yeah. If you're not going to do it every single possession he's on the court, why is he out there? Because what he's giving you defensively is nothing, if anything. If anything. You said he had 17 points. What was his plus minus? Because I feel like it was like minus 18. Like Zach Edey.
Well, everybody after that second quarter's plus minus got pretty wonky.
The second quarter did happen. It's not wonky. They lost.
I know, but
they lost. The only pluses, the only positives, watching the game and looking at the plus minus. Plus minus is a fine.
He's a minus 5.
Okay. Well, hey, get out there and feed him the ball. He's got to be, and that's a game where he can show you his chest on the block, get real big, real wide, and you can throw it to him. He turn and go over his shoulder and finish.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to do that, why play him? Because he's not good enough defensively to be playing.
Grizzlies Hawks tonight.
Let's go.
Let's absolutely go. It was a bummer that Desmond Bane didn't play on Desmond Bane Wrestling Buddy Night. Everybody had those wrestling buddies. I didn't end up with one. I was sad. I said we should treat them like a Flat Stanley. Did you do Flat Stanley in school? What is that? Like when you had the little paper doll that you would send and then someone would send it to the next place and Flat Stanley would travel the country. We also had Felix the cat. In my elementary school, we did 2 of them. But if you took a Desmond Bane Wrestling Buddy and sent it around the world, can you imagine? Like, here's Desmond Bane with the Washington Monument. Here's Desmond Bane with the pyramid. He doesn't even have to leave Memphis. Here's Desmond Bane with the Eiffel Tower. Here's Desmond Bane in front of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, by the time Flat Stanleys come along, I'm in middle school, high school, we didn't do them.
Oh, they were fun. Okay. Some kids got lost, though. That was always the thing. You had to trust the people you were sending them to. And you had to trust that that person would send it to someone who was trustworthy. Some kids never got their Flat Stanley back.
Oh, no.
Yeah, what a sad time.
Are we still doing Flat Stanleys?
I don't know. Because we don't print out...
Kids, send me your Flat Stanley. I'll take it some cool places.
We also don't print out pictures like we used to. Like, you'd get your Flat Stanley envelope back, and everyone had, like, taken the camera to 24-hour photo and got in actual physical copies of the photos of Flat Stanley.
What if we do like grown-up Flat Stanley?
I think it'd be fun. And I think we should do it with the Desmond Bane Wrestling Buddy.
Here's my Flat Stanley at this bar. Hey, here's my Flat Stanley at this gentleman's ballerina establishment. Here's my Flat Stanley's in this really shady alley. Wonder what he's doing there. That would be great. Well, here's my Flat Stanley at Jessica, getting my yearly because I'm old now and I have to do this to make getting your physicals and stuff so much more fun.
Just bring a Flat Stanley.
Here's my Flat Stanley doing taxes.
Oh. Here's my Flat Stanley. Will he get a refund this year? Will he get a return? Only time will tell. We got to get to Gary Parrish. He's going to join us in studio. We'll chat with him. Big win for the Memphis Tigers yesterday against UAB. They could wrap up the AAC regular season title with one more win. We'll get into that with Gary and more on the other side.
45-minute video on Tony Allen on YouTube.
I just saw it yesterday.
He managed to dominate the NBA for 14 years, despite missing one of basketball's most important skills. But here's the crazy thing.
Why does that hurt your feelings?
It didn't hurt my feelings.
It's positive.
He at least should have more of my highlights.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Are you aware of the story of Larry Brown and John Calipari coming to see you at an AAU tournament?
I knew Coach Calipari was in the crowd. I had this incredible game. I had maybe 17 dunks in the first half or something. One of my guys was like, "Yeah, I think Coach Calipari was speaking with one of the NBA scouts, and they're saying, yeah, you're not gonna go to college, bro. You're going straight to the league." I was like, "That's the plan, but if I don't, I definitely want to go to Memphis," and that's how I went down.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz Beat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
They say main event Jey Uso was going to open the show. So they said they're starting to hear rumbles around the plaza level of Jey Uso. They're getting the crowd together to build up the main event Jey Uso entrance. Hey, 15,000 people together yeeting in unison, 5-star. They are yeeting together.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball.
But the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board. A class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Welcome back. It's Monday. That means it's time to catch up with Gary Parrish, host of The Gary Parrish Show. Weekday mornings at 10 a.m. on Grind City Media. GP. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you. You enjoying your Monday so far?
It's a Monday.
Yeah?
I'm actually, honestly, you want the honest answer?
Sure.
I'm a little overwhelmed.
Why?
We've got a Grizzlies game tonight.
I heard about that.
We've got the Tony Allen documentary premiere screening tomorrow night.
Aware of that,
which
sure.
I'm excited about.
You should be.
We have a Grizzlies game on Wednesday that got moved to 8:30 p.m.
That's fun. That's fun.
Then I got to fly to Denver for a baby shower
Oh, wow.
on Thursday. And then the next week we have Grizzlies games on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And sometimes I struggle to look ahead and start getting a little bogged down by the entirety of it. And it probably didn't help that the Grizzlies lost 2 games over the weekend.
I wish they wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Do they realize how much more difficult it is for you and I to come in on a Monday and Chris Vernon and all of us with 2 close losses?
Oh, it's not hard. I
just prefer the alternative. Let me just be clear.
I would prefer the alternative. Sure. It's more enjoyable to talk
That's
about
what I meant.
2
That's
straight
the
wins as
word.
opposed to 2 straight losses. And yeah, but it is what it is. It's frustrating for sure to lose a couple of games that were obviously very winnable, one against a good team, one against a bad team, to lose them the way you lost them, to lose them with who's available and who's not available. Like all the stuff that I really do think this was a weekend where if you are the frustrated Grizzlies fan and have been this through the season,
you feel so vindicated.
Everything you've been frustrated about was on full display this weekend, every aspect of it. Why do the other teams' players play way more than our players play? Why are our players always in street clothes? Why can't we beat the good teams?
If our players aren't playing as many minutes as the other players play, why do they still have to take the second night of a back-to-back off? Isn't there some question of that should help the durability that allows them to play in the game if they're not playing as many minutes? I saw it all. I saw it all from over the weekend.
And I think that's a totally reasonable.
Completely rational takeaway.
Sometimes I read commentary from fans, and I'm like, okay, but that's just being you're just sort of caught up in it. I am totally open to the frustration tied to why do our best players not play as much as everybody else's best players? Why is Jalen Brunson on the court more than Ja Morant? Why? In that game on Friday night, and this is just one game, but it's a microcosm of everything. I believe the top 3 scorers for the Knicks combined to play 10 more minutes than the top 3 scorers for the Grizzlies. Why? Why is that? Well, we're playing fast. Okay, but if playing fast doesn't get the other team's best players off the court, just yours, all you're doing is creating basketball sequences where your best players are not playing against their best players, where your best players aren't playing as much as the other team's best players. How did we get to a point where we think that's the way to do it? It's not the way the Celtics did it last year. It's not the way Auburn's doing it right now in college basketball. John Calipari still to this day gets made fun of because of how little he played Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker in their only seasons at Kentucky. And the argument from John would be, but we had so many good players, we could just play 11 guys and keep everybody fresh. Okay, cool. I just like that you're barely playing Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker. If I'm the other coach, I don't care. Play as many people as you want. Every minute Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns is not on the court, that's a minute I prefer as the opposing coach. And if I'm Tom Thibodeau, I am thrilled that every time I look out there and Jaren Jackson and John Morant are not on the court. That makes me happy. And that's a...
And I think also when you look across the league, and like the Warriors, I felt attacked their game against the Sixers, who are another team that's free fallen after the Joel Embiid news. That's a complete mess. Yeah. The Warriors didn't play Jimmy Butler. He had back spasms. But was it a situation where you thought you could beat the Sixers without Jimmy Butler? And they end up losing. But then on the flip side, a team like the Lakers that now has found themselves ahead of the Memphis Grizzlies in the standings, their injury report going into Sunday's game against the Clippers, everyone was on it. But you want to know who ended up playing? LeBron James and Luka Doncic. And they ended up beating the Clippers for the second time in 3 nights. And ultimately, the Lakers are now the 2 seed. They have a slight edge in winning percentage on the Nuggets right behind them. The Lakers 38-21, the Nuggets 39-22, and then it's the Grizzlies who take the tumble to the 4 seed. And it just happens so fast. We really are at the point where every game matters. And I went into Saturday's game against the Spurs kind of joking, like, well, the only way this game ends up mattering, the only way we end up talking about this game is if the Grizzlies lose. And then the Grizzlies lost.
Well, the thing is about the NBA, all the games matter exactly the same. Game 1, game 82, everyone in between, they all count the same in the standings. And yet, for reasons I'll let other people explain, we don't always act like they matter. You know, we don't always put the goal is, correct me if I'm wrong, do you think the goal every night is to put the best team on the court to win a basketball game?
It should be.
Do you think it is?
I can't say that coming out of Saturday's game.
It doesn't look like
Come
it.
on.
It doesn't always look like it, right?
Be.
So, and I don't even care about somebody having to sit out with a shoulder injury or back spasms as it pertains to Jimmy Butler. What I am talking about, there's this incredible graphic that was floating around social media from the Knicks broadcast. Did you see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's just dramatic. The Knicks starters they lead the league in minutes. Grizzly starters are last in the league in minutes. Every variation of what I just said was on this graphic. When people are hurt, they're hurt. All right? I got that.
And ultimately, you want as healthy as humanly possible going into the playoffs. When every game in the regular season might count the same, but once you reach the playoffs, it's a 7-game series.
That's fine. You ready?
Yeah.
You cannot prove to me how doing this is going to make you healthy in the postseason. You can't prove that to me. You can say you think it might help, but you can't prove it to me. You can't show it to me. All right? So you're just asking me to believe in something on nothing but faith. All right? And I'm not really wired to do that in most aspects of my life. I don't care when somebody's hurt. Somebody's hurt, they can't play. Fine. Here's what I want to know. It's a 48-minute basketball game on a Friday night. Why can John Morant only play 31 of those? That's what I want to know. Why is John Morant still not averaging 30 minutes a game? Why are there 5 New York Knicks who average 35-plus minutes per game and 0 Grizzlies? Why is there only 1 Grizzly averaging more than 29.8 minutes per game? If you're hurt, you can't play. I got that. This is not that. You're playing. You're in the starting lineup. You're playing. You just don't play as much as the other people. I don't get that.
Yep.
And nobody has been able to explain it to me in a way where I understand it.
And it's one of the reasons we're sitting here today having to talk about 2 losses and a team that has now lost 5 of their last 7 games. And it doesn't feel particularly great. It can change quickly.
Do you think it frustrates the players? Do you think if you're John Morant, are you sitting there wondering, why do I not play more?
I don't like to put emotions on players, but I would imagine, based on what we have seen collectively from a competitive standpoint, yes, they want to be on the court. Even look at the game against the Spurs. Jaren Jackson Jr. played the entire 3rd quarter, I believe. There was a time where he is standing at the scorer's table, waiting to check in, and the Spurs go on a 6-0 run, and watching his reaction of not being in the game and understanding, perhaps they don't go on that run if I'm in the game. Sure, you have to take a breather at some point, but watching facial expressions, they want to be in.
Yeah.
They want to play.
Yeah.
Stars want to have the opportunity to take their teams in the big moments, and not just in the big moments, the collection of the game, so that maybe you aren't in a situation where it has to be a down-to-the-wire victory or loss every night.
I'll just ask you questions. You answer them to the best of your ability.
That's great.
The top 3 scores for the Knicks and this is just one way to chop it up. There's a million ways to chop it up. This is one. Top 3 scores played a combined 110 minutes. The Grizzlies' top 3 scores combined to play 100 total minutes. There were 10 minutes of extra, the Knicks' best. Do you think it's possible that those 10 minutes resulted in one more point?
Yes.
Well, that's how you win and lose.
Of course.
That's how you win and lose.
Of course.
That's how you win and lose basketball games.
Yeah.
Or
All right.
anything.
We could talk about it all day. And I know people have talked about it. It's all anybody wanted to talk about over the weekend because that's the thing. People care.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. And there were a lot of people in this building. The energy from the crowd. There were a lot of Knicks fans on Friday as well. But the crowd was into it. And then even the Spurs game. I thought a lot of people would leave at half. They stayed. They were there for the Jaren Jackson Jr. takeover of the second half. And then it kind of fell apart. So we'll see tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. For the Memphis Tigers, though, Gary, if we're looking for positives from this Memphis-filled sports weekend, they beat UAB. They beat them by 7. And now they are 1 win away from locking up their first ever AAC regular season title. Is that important? Is the AAC regular season title of it? I shouldn't say is it important. Of course it's important. But how important is that?
I think anytime you're playing for something, it should be important.
Right.
I would love for Memphis to be winning a Big Ten title. That sounds awesome. And
it felt good when USC women did it this weekend. It felt, I gotta admit, I've loved the Pac-12 forever.
SEC title for Memphis would be amazing. Unfortunately, the only conference title Memphis is capable of winning right now is the AAC. So you should go win it. Yes, it's important. Penny Hardaway is going to be an AAC conference championship coach. When you start your college career being called a AAU coach, to go win it's not a great league, but it's a Division I men's college basketball league that you happen to play in, that you weren't picked to win. Stupidly, they should have been picked to win it, but that you weren't picked to win, and then you went and won it. So, yeah, that's a big deal. It will have no impact or very little impact on seeding, but somebody's got to win it. Might as well be you. If you want to go around talking about you're better than everybody else in this league, it helps to have the trophies to back it up. And they're going to have the trophy to back it up. Yeah, it's a big deal.
It feels good.
Yeah.
Right? It's just one of those things where to be able to finally say it would mean something. And it shows improvement. Even I thought the win against UAB, it meant a lot. UAB had a lot of wantings of revenge. And for the Tigers to come out and they trailed at half, come back around and win by a good number. It's not like it was a blowout by any means, but it felt strong at the end for Memphis, and it made it a no question. And what we have seen from this team is the ability when the games seem to matter more based on the opponent, whatever the edge is there that makes it feel, whether it be the non-conference schedule from earlier in the season or these games against UAB, the team rises to the occasion.
Sure.
And that's a positive thing to note going into the month of March.
The other team, the other school, made this a big deal. Memphis likes to think of itself as everybody's Super Bowl because John Calipari used to say that all the time. It's not necessarily true. But UAB prioritized that game yesterday.
And there was all the stuff with Yaxel and Dane.
You had all that. And then in every way that you could show up and shut them up, you did it. You quieted the crowd. You won the game. Dane Danger destroyed Yaxel. He was terrific. And, yeah, you obviously, anybody who understands how college athletics works understands that Memphis, from an athletic department perspective, is different than just about everybody else in the AAC. And that's what leads to Memphis fans saying this league sucks and we need to get out of here. But, it's not lost on me running around yelling this league sucks, we need to get out of here might be confusing to somebody in Birmingham or somebody in Tampa who's like, all right, but you guys never win the league. You keep talking about how this league sucks, but you never win it. Okay. Now that's off the table now.
Yeah.
Memphis is and will be acknowledged as the best basketball team in this league, and they went down and they showed up, and they'll maintain their national ranking or improve it, and that was a nice moment for Penny Hardaway in that program.
We'll take a quick break, as we do on Mondays, but we'll be back with you. I want to ask you about some other college basketball games from the weekend, plus the Oscars. Will Drake ever know a moment of peace again in his life?
Poor
I'm not
guy.
sure. We'll get into it when we come back.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
45-minute video on Tony Allen on YouTube.
I just saw it yesterday.
He managed to dominate the NBA for 14 years, despite missing one of basketball's most important skills. But here's the crazy thing.
Why does that hurt your feelings?
It didn't hurt my feelings.
It's
no.
positive.
He police. He at least should have more of my highlights.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Are you aware of the story of Larry Brown and John Calipari coming to see you at an AAU tournament?
I knew Coach Calipari was in the crowd. I had this incredible game. I had maybe 17 dunks in the first half or something. One of my guys was like, "Yeah, I think Coach Calipari was speaking with one of the NBA scouts, and they're saying, yeah, you're not going to go to college, bro. You're going straight to the league." I was like, "That's the plan, but if I don't, I definitely want to go to Memphis," and that's how I went down.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. Still here with Gary Parrish and GP. The best college basketball game on the men's side this weekend was what?
I don't know if it was the best, but I thought among the most impressive things that happened was Auburn just going into Rupp Arena and destroying Kentucky. Now, Kentucky was missing arguably its best player, one of its best players, and will now be for the rest of the season in Jackson Robinson. But this always sounds hyperbolic, but Bruce Pearl has a team. It sounds hyperbolic, but it's not. He has a team that is completely running through what is going to go down as the best men's basketball conference in the history of the sport. It already rates that way. It's going to break the record for putting the SEC as a number of teams in the NCAA tournament. And Auburn is just not only beating everybody, but blowing them out. They've already secured an outright SEC title. And I really do believe this. Auburn could forfeit every game between now and Selection Sunday. Just say, we're not traveling, we're not showing up. Just give us the loss and put it on our resume and we'll deal with it. And they'd still be the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament on Selection Sunday. They play Texas A&M midweek. They could lose that. It's a quadrant one loss. Then it's Alabama at home, lose it, quadrant one loss. First game in the SEC tournament will be the quarterfinals. It'll almost certainly be a quadrant one game again. Take the loss. Even if they did that, they'd be 16-5 in quadrant one on Selection Sunday. Literally nobody can touch that. You could take any team in the country other than Auburn and say, I'm going to let them win out against the best possible schedule they have in front of them, and they would not be able to match Auburn, even if Auburn never won again before Selection Sunday. That's how far they are, and it's why Bruce Pearl is going to be SEC Coach of the Year, National. He should be everything. Yeah. He should be everything.
What am I supposed to make of Tennessee, Gary? I'm paying attention now. I'm thinking about my bracket. Can I pencil them into a Sweet 16, Elite 8 type of run?
I would never pencil them or you can use pencil.
Pencil is great.
Pencil is great.
Yeah, use the pencil.
Don't pin it.
Don't pin it.
Okay.
Just because Rick Barnes has a history of not reaching expectations in the NCAA tournament, but this team's legitimately good. I don't think they are at the level of Auburn Duke. I think at this point, Auburn, Duke, Houston, I would almost put on a different tier by themselves. And then Tennessee's in that next batch of 4 or 5 teams that you could put them they could be a 1 seed, they could be in the Final Four. I don't know that I would pick them to win a national championship, but they're good enough to go lose to a Duke or an Auburn or somebody like that in a Final Four or title game. And if you get that far, might as well just play it and see what you can do. They're good. I don't think they got that extra gear that some of these other teams have.
Selfish question coming. Michigan is 1 game or a half a game, something ridiculous back of Michigan State on the men's side. My Wolverines, they're going to do it. They end with Maryland, Michigan State on the schedule.
Well, as you know, they've got this weird resume where they've won, I think, 11 conference games by 4 or fewer points, which is the most all time. Not just in the Big Ten, in any conference in the history of the sport, nobody has ever won this many league games by such small margins. So it's a little bit like the Chiefs in the NFL this past season, where people were like, okay, they're winning, but eventually it's going to catch them. And then Michigan got caught this weekend. For Michigan State, there's a lot of paths to the Big Ten title at this point, and I think they'll get one of them. The problem for Michigan is that you lost the home game to Michigan State. Now you got to go there on Sunday. And no matter what happens between now and Sunday, it is this simple. If Michigan State beats Michigan on Sunday at the Breslin Center, Michigan State will be the outright Big Ten champs. Given that game's going to be played in East Lansing, that's the likely scenario.
No, don't break my heart.
I didn't mean to break your heart, but that's the likely scenario.
I meant to look up the margin of victory for Michigan. It can't be good. They might have a negative margin of victory, right?
There is a reason why
amazing.
They are projected to be like a 2 or 3 seed, but you start looking at the predictive metrics computer numbers, and it doesn't align with that at all. They have so many close wins, and the predictive metrics value blowouts way more than the little wins will hurt you. The little losses won't hurt you that much, but the little wins, they don't. Yeah. The margins matter in the predictive metrics.
Did you watch the Oscars last night?
Of course.
I loved that we got halfway through, and Conan O'Brien, who I thought did a fantastic job as host, comes out, says we're halfway through the show, which means it's time for Kendrick Lamar to come out and call Drake a pedophile. And I just spit out my drink and said, God, I thought we were done with this. It's never going to end, is it?
No.
I really thought the Super Bowl was the end. It felt like the bow on it, coming out of the Grammys, everything. It's been going for a long time now. But the fact that it popped up in the middle of the Oscars in LA with all of those, another room full of people.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the most famous people that we have, although a good number of the stars right now are busy off filming the new Odyssey movie, which was pointed out last night. Like a lot of big names are in that Odyssey cast. And so suddenly you're like, well, where's so-and-so?
Right.
Oh, they're off in Marrakesh filming the Odyssey.
Right.
But still, some of the brightest stars in the world. And they're all laughing at Drake.
Oh, his life will never be the same.
It's crazy.
Well, there's been now, I believe, 3 Sunday nights, big events in the year 2025, primetime network television, where the whole world is laughing at you.
Yes.
It's the Grammys, where they play Not Like Us. Kendrick walks to the stage, and then you see the crowd all doing the A minor thing, and Taylor Swift's back there dancing, and Beyonce's back there dancing, and it's just, and then you get the Super Bowl, and then last night. And like Conan took it a play, like Kendrick never actually said pedophile at the Super Bowl.
Conan did.
Right, and it's just like, and then everybody laughs, and then of course he follows it up with, "Don't worry, I'm lawyered up." That's the other part. Like, I've made this point the day that lawsuit was filed. Even if you win it, you lose. Even if you win it, you lose because you're just the guy who filed a lawsuit in the middle of a rap beef. And you see that, like, he had to cancel his Australian tour.
Yes.
And you see the clip that went viral where he's trying to get the crowd to engage, and it's just there's nothing there. It's like this guy went from being genuinely the biggest deal in the world, or one of them, to he's now a joke. He's now a meme. And that's a wild, like, F that guy. I don't care about him at all. He is exactly as he's been described. But that's weird to have your whole life flipped upside down, and like you didn't get charged with some major crime. You just got mixed up in a rap beef that you picked a terrible fight with a Pulitzer Prize winner, got your head beat in, and now you've changed your existence. he still have all the money and he can still make hits, although the album seemed to like it's not registering the way you would hope your first big album after this type of stuff. It's just bad. He's in a bad spot.
Do you think J. Cole just sits on a beach and is
Yes.
like, I'm so proud of myself?
Yeah, just you got out.
God, did I make a great business and life decision?
The best.
And I decided to just apologize and bow out of the moment.
Well, he could see long term as opposed to short term. J. Cole took a beating for a couple days. Like how do you back out of this and how do you apologize for that? But he saved his he ain't dealing with this. Conan O'Brien's not making jokes at the Oscars about J. Cole.
My favorite thing about this goofy beef is Drake didn't say the line that got Kendrick upset. J. Cole did. And the line that got Kendrick upset is, hey, there are 3 good rappers out right now, me, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar. And that set Kendrick off. Kendrick's like, no. And Kendrick comes back in the song with Future and Metro Boomin.
Right.
And he's like, no, I'm taking shots at everybody on that track. And the only person he took shots at was Drake. He just let it ride on Drake. Like this is so silly to me.
It is hilarious that the thing that offended initially that Kendrick was so offended by was, how dare you put me as one of the best 3?
Let's settle this.
How dare you put me as one of the best 3 in the world? There is no best 3. It's just me. I mean, that's literally the line.
Yes.
So, but like that's the thing that set it all up. I mean, this thing was building for years and years and years and years. Like people have just figured out over the past 6 months or so that the Black Panther song was a shot at Drake. Like all of this stuff has been building for years, and it'll never go away. It'll stop being the go-to joke for every comedian and every right now. If you were hosting anything, you would have a Kendrick Drake. Just because it's such a pop culture thing, you'd have a line in there somewhere. It's like if you were, doing late night during the Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton stuff. Everybody's going to have everybody's got that joke.
Random. Did you listen to her on
I saw
Call
clips.
Her Daddy?
I saw clips of it.
It's pretty damn good. Every time I listen to Monica Lewinsky talk, I'm just like, it's incredible that you're here and able to talk about it at this point. But man,
she has
infinite.
I don't know how to say this, but and I don't mean it physically at all. What I was going to say is she has aged well.
She's aged so gracefully.
That's right. That's what I mean.
Spiritually, emotionally. And she also, she's a beautiful woman too. But it just all situates in a place where I'm interested in hearing from her. Like sometimes you'd be like, God, that's an old story. I don't really care about that. That happened when I was so young that I don't have the consciousness of understanding. Sure, jokes were made my entire life. Sure, I'm watching late night shows if I'm lucky enough to be up late and I hear something come on, but I'm not registering it. But now as an adult, you're able to look back on it, and it's just such a fascinating thing. Anyway, we have brief time. I feel like we're talking like The Brutalist, which is the longest movie of all time, which you and I both squeezed in on Sunday.
That's right.
I felt like I was back in college, and I had a paper due at midnight, and I just had to get through it. 3.5 hours. Adrian Brody ends up winning for Best Actor. It does not win for Best Picture. Shout out to Nora, my favorite movie of the year, which I was thrilled about. Would you have been upset if The Brutalist won Best Picture?
No. I watched The Brutalist yesterday. We went to brunch and then came home and was like, and today we will watch The Brutalist.
It felt like a chore.
Yeah, but it was long. It's long. There wasn't a time where I was like, I cannot believe we're only 30 minutes into this. It felt...
There was a time where there were 40 minutes left.
And we
paused it to look at how much time was left. I really did think that the first half of it, the pre-intermission portion, was a great movie.
Right.
I thought post-intermission, it was still very, very, very good.
Right.
But it dragged. And I will go back to this. And I believe this with my entire heart. It could have been edited. It could have been edited to be a shorter movie. And I understand having a vision and you want every single thing in there. Listen, I'm an wordy writer. I don't know how you are as a writer.
I'm concise.
I am not. I have been wordy from the very beginning.
Verbally,
I'm
wordy.
In my
Talking,
life,
I'm wordy.
But on paper, you're
concise. Yes.
I've needed good editors my whole life. We have to bring editors back. Because at the end of the day, 3.5 hours is just a really long time. And it wasn't great enough through and through for me to say, well, I'm sure glad that was 3.5 hours. The ending was spectacular. It's a story that I think was necessary. And I had a dumb little tweet last night about how much I love movies. One, because of escapism, but mostly because I love to learn things. I love to think about periods of time that I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about brutalist architecture and the brutalist movement and the pain that it came out of in that time period. And here's a Hungarian Jewish immigrant who spent time in a concentration camp and goes on to make such noteworthy and important buildings for the rest of his life. So I love that.
Right.
But I'm not ever going to watch The Brutalist again.
Well, okay, so we have that in common. I'll never see this again.
Ever.
If it's on, I will just change the channel.
There's not a moment from it that I need to see again.
No.
In fact, there's
And
three moments that I would really like to avoid.
There's definitely moments that you don't need to see again, right? I thought it was really good, really good. And if it would have won, I would have said, I get it, I understand. And so if you want to call that the best, that was the best film, fine. But I enjoyed watching Anora more. I just enjoyed the experience of watching Anora. I thought.
And on the exact flip side of that, we paused Anora in the middle because we were watching it at home as well. And it wasn't even over. And I said to Chris, I think this is the first time in a long time that I'm in the middle of a movie thinking to myself, I can't wait to watch this again.
There you go.
It does not happen
to
me. Even with Wicked, a movie that I adored, loved.
Right.
In the next segment, when you're not here, I'll go all in on the Wicked opener. I haven't watched it since it came back. I would watch Anora again before I would watch Wicked again.
I have seen Anora twice.
It's so good.
And because I watched it, and then I don't want to ruin it, but when I watched The Brutalist, I knew exactly what I watched. I know exactly what I just watched. And I wasn't left to think about it. And I wonder, what am I supposed to, it's all right in front of you. At least for me, Anora it's a little open-ended. Like, what does this mean? Where is she at? Where is this going?
It was a comedy, and then I'm crying.
Yeah, it was like it took you a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite thing about a great movie. As soon as it's over, I want to talk to. If I saw it with you, I want to talk to you about it. And I watched it by myself because I was on a plane or whatever. But I immediately wanted to. This is one of the great things about the internet in a world where there's lots of terrible things. I went to Reddit. I was just Googling Anora ending explained. I just wanted to read every theory.
Yes.
And contrast it with mine.
Yes.
And then I wanted to go back and watch it again to see what I missed, what I'd see differently. And if you could make me do all those things, then you've done your job. That's a great film.
And
I was glad it won.
If there's a new actor in my life, and in this case it was Yura Borisov who plays Igor, I'm fascinated by him. I want him
Mikey Madison was new for me.
And Mikey Madison, I watched her on that Better Things show, the Pamela, I always forget her last name. But that's like one of those weird shows where I remember watching it, and I watched the entire thing. It was 4 or 5 seasons. Don't remember much about it. I remember Mikey Madison being excellent and thinking, oh, she could grow into a star. And now at 25 years old, she's an Academy Award winning actress, which is incredible because on the flip side, we saw what seems to be Timothée Chalamet is faced with a world where he's going to get the Leonardo DiCaprio treatment. And I think that's a little trite and quick to say. He could have some movie in the next 5 years that ultimately gets him one earlier than it took Leonardo DiCaprio. But it's easy to see a young star and say, well, remember what happened to Leo. He really had to work for that. And here's Adrian Brody now, a 2-time Best Actor, which is crazy.
Well, the reason I wanted to watch The Brutalist is so I wouldn't have to sit here with you or Bennett and say, well, I didn't see it, so I don't know. I wanted to be able to say, I did see it, and here's what I think. I wanted Anora to win. I would have understood if The Brutalist won. Similarly,
I also would have been understandable if Conclave won.
I didn't see Conclave.
You didn't?
I didn't see Conclave.
I
will, but I just
Conclave.
hadn't. The main one that I haven't seen that I wanted to get to is Nickel Boys. I've got it in my phone, and then Conclave as well. And then I feel like I've got what I needed to do. So I wanted Anora to win, but I would have understood if The Brutalist won. Similarly, I wanted Timothée Chalamet to win.
But I
understand why Adrian Brody won. It's not crazy. Without seeing The Brutalist, I would have been like, I can't believe they didn't give it to Timothée Chalamet. I totally understand why they gave it to Adrian Brody. He was terrific. I would have
quite literally how I felt when that award happened. I said, thank goodness I watched The Brutalist this afternoon. Not because I loved it, but because now I am able to see why Adrian Brody won. And then, boy, did he try to say something profound, but he was just all over the place.
Yeah. Maybe
he needs an editor too.
Well, I'm a big believer, and I don't like the note cards. I'd rather you mess up your speech than just look at a piece of paper and read it. But maybe that's why you look at a piece of paper sometimes, so you don't get a little all over the place.
It's also why they play the music,
yeah,
so that you don't end up meandering. Don't pull the big D move and be like, please turn the music off. I've done this before. It did not lead me to being like, you know what? I forgot how much I like Adrian Brody.
Well,
and instead, it led me to be like, you know what? I remember a lot of stories about Adrian Brody on why he's had this span between Oscar #1 for The Pianist, which was a tremendous performance, and Oscar #2 for The Brutalist.
The thing I don't understand about any of that, whether it's Adrian Brody, Mikey Madison, particularly the actors, like a costume designer, whatever. You're an actor. How can you not just get up there and perform for 90 seconds?
Yeah.
Like, how could you? Shouldn't you be able to learn as an actor? Shouldn't you be able to learn a 90-second speech in a day?
They're actors, not writers. They're coming up with this material on
Then
their own, aren't they?
then hire a writer. Then hire a writer and perform the speech.
Right.
Like, Kieran Culkin is amazing at it, but that's just his personality.
It's just
He's
him.
just up there being him.
Do we think that him and Jeremy Strong is he trying to forge a better relationship with Jeremy Strong? Jeremy Strong did not look to be having it, but there was a moment on the red carpet beforehand where Kieran Culkin goes out of his, or maybe it was Jeremy Strong who went out of his way to find Kieran Culkin. One of the two. Shoot, now I don't know which one
I think it was Kieran ran to Jeremy.
Okay. And then Kieran brought up Jeremy at the beginning, and at first I thought it was almost like an egging situation, but after seeing the red carpet moment, I will be studying the relationships between Secession cast members for the rest of my life.
Everything I've ever read about Jeremy Strong is he is a different dude.
He cares.
Oh, he
cares.
Not.
He's the closest thing we have to a working method actor. I guess you could say Timothy Chalamet is trying to.
It does not.
Daniel Day-Lewis
It does not
himself,
surprise
but
me to hear that Kieran Culkin and Jeremy Strong.
They're opposite ends of the caring spectrum.
Oh, like Jeremy Strong is. I am in character 24 hours a day, and I see these interviews with Kieran Culkin, and he's just always. He just does.
My brother was Macaulay.
Well, they're talking. I saw one interview with him, and they were like, so you had to go to the airport? And you missed a flight? It's perfect, like late night talk show thing. He's like, yeah, I don't really. He's like, so then what happened? He's like, it's just not a big deal. Mm-hmm. He's like, you get in the car and then you go to the airport, and he's like, I never understand why people are all stressed out. You either get there in time or you don't, and if you do, great, and if you don't, they just put you on another plane a little bit later. It's never really a big deal. He seems to have that attitude about everything in the world, and Jeremy Strong seems to be the complete opposite. And you put those two people next to each other, that's
yeah, and it's so funny because Brian Cox, who played Logan Roy, who is a capital A actor, but even him would get in situations talking about Jeremy Strong where he's like, he's different.
Yes.
Like, and not in a perceived good way. Anyway, I gotta let you go because we gotta talk about other important things like the Wicked opener.
Of course.
Oh my God.
Of course.
I'm still thinking about it. Like JuJu Watkins, like other basketball moments from the weekend that we have not yet gotten to. We'll get into all that. Thanks, GP.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
They say main event Jey Uso was going to open the show. So they said they're starting to hear rumbles around the plaza level of Jey Uso. They're getting the crowd together to build up the main event Jey Uso entrance. Hey, 15,000 people together yeeting in unison, 5-star. They are yeeting together.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GBWR.
If you go to a hustle game, you're going to see a very fast-paced game. A lot of action, both offensively, defensively.
Nice rejection right there.
In a great environment at the Landers Center. You could bring family there, kids are running around.
Down the lane and one for Zion Poland.
And then you're going to see a lot of talented basketball players competing at a high level.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
45-minute video on Tony Allen on YouTube.
I just saw it yesterday.
He managed to dominate the NBA for 14 years, despite missing one of basketball's most important skills. But here's the crazy thing.
Why does that hurt your feelings?
It didn't hurt my feelings.
It's positive.
He at least should have more of my highlights.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We did get a new shoe that dropped today that we should all be able to get if we want it.
Fire.
And it's been one people have been waiting for a long, long time.
Yep.
Asia Wilson. What do you guys think about the shoe?
I love it.
It looks great. We see people wearing Jaws. We see a lot of people wearing the GT line, but then also we see a lot of NBA players wearing the Sabrinas.
Sabrina, yeah.
I bet you there's gonna be a lot of NBA players wearing that.
I agree with you on that.
Oh, yeah.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Are you aware of the story of Larry Brown and John Calipari coming to see you at an AAU tournament?
I knew Coach Calipari was in the crowd. I had this incredible game. I had maybe 17 dunks in the first half or something. One of my guys was like, "Yeah, I think Coach Calipari was speaking with one of the NBA scouts, and they're saying, yeah, you're not gonna go to college, bro. You're going straight to the league." I was like, "That's the plan, but if I don't, I definitely want to go to Memphis," and that's how I went down.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. Before we get into the rest of our Oscars discussion, there was one thing that I wanted to make really clear on this Monday morning, CJ.
What?
Please, I have a request, I guess is what I should say. A simple request, a simple favor. Please make JuJu Watkins National Player of the Year. Please make JuJu Watkins National Player of the Year in women's college basketball, because JuJu Watkins is as good as you think she is. She is better than you think she is. She is one of the faces of basketball, and she is the reason why the USC Trojans are Big Ten champions. Yeah, that sounds weird. Big Ten champions, and the fact that it came down to UCLA and USC playing at Pauley Pavilion, the number 4 team versus the number 2 team, on a Saturday night, and it was JuJu Watkins who, again, comes up huge for USC. 30 points. She made her first 3 of the game. I had the USC game on my small screen. This moment between Cheryl Miller and JuJu. Slap that butt! From one great to another. They missed it on the broadcast originally, but don't fret. They gave the replay. You said that's the best moment. I would say it was a tie. The block that JuJu Watkins had in this game on Jaquez, JuJu has a block, and then she breaks the 4th wall. I love when players break the 4th wall, but she looks dead into that camera after the block and is just like, yeah. And she's so good. She's so damn good. It makes so much sense why there was an anonymous GM survey in the WNBA who said they would do anything. They would trade everything to have JuJu Watkins, because she is the future of somebody's franchise. She is the future face of somebody's franchise in the W. She is only a sophomore in college, but she has been remarkable. She had 30 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 blocks. All she does is put up big numbers against UCLA. She's averaging 33, 8, 3 assists, and 4 blocks against UCLA this season. And USC has beaten UCLA 4 straight times. JuJu Watkins is that girl, period. She's so fun to watch. I cannot say enough good things. And it's not just because I went there.
No, she's great. She is approaching phenom status. We talked about that some last week. And for good reason she is. She is a special, special player. And we've talked about this a couple of times about why USC women's basketball is not better than what it
That's
is
their
right
first
now.
conference title since 1994, regular season title.
And that's why, for me, Jacob, remember that clip of Cheryl Miller and JuJu? That's why that clip, to me, is the best thing I've seen in basketball this year so far. Is because it's the last time they were this, she was there. Cheryl was there. It's cool to see players coming back to the university. I always like to see that. And we had that moment, I feel like it was this year, at UConn, where it's Paige sitting on the bench, and then it's rows of UConn greats. So it's Sue Bird, it is Diana Taurasi on one bench, and there's some more players above them. And it's just, you look into the stands and you see UConn greats row by row by row. USC can't do that for some strange reason. And that's why that moment is so much fun, because she's the best player USC has seen. And USC, let me be clear, USC has seen some really great, impactful WNBA players come through there. Right, but not what JuJu is, and not anything remarkable enough to get them held to just a Elite 8. I'm looking right now; they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Elite 8s, 7 Elite 8s as a program. Cheryl Miller is responsible for 3.
3 of them, and then you had the Lisa Leslie in the early '90s.
That's the only way that clip could have been made better. If she's high-fiving Lisa Leslie while Cheryl Miller's giving her a pat on the ass.
But it
like,
was
go get it,
pretty
kid.
great because Cheryl Miller's next to Reggie, who's UCLA, and Cheryl Miller keeps winning. It's fine. It is what it is.
Yep.
No,
Good
it was very fun to watch. And from a USC perspective, so much has been made about the burden that's been on JuJu this season, and she is almost everything. But what stood out in that game was the fact that Kiki Afarin finally looked like the 1-2 punch that she and JuJu were supposed to be. Like, when things got tougher in the second half, Kiki had a big second half. Rhea Marshall defending one of the other candidates for National Player of the Year, Lauren Betts, about as well as anyone has defended Lauren Betts this season. I think she was held to just 11 points, which is far below her season average. Things started to come together in a way that made me a little more confident, because when you're going into the tournament, sure, you always have a chance when you have the best player on the team, and that is JuJu Watkins, or the best player on the court, I should say. But there hasn't been a whole lot of help with JuJu this year, and system-wise, there hasn't been a whole lot of help. So,
what system-wise? What system? Either the players.
Their system is JuJu.
Yeah, because the players can't play.
But the players are finally playing better, is my point.
One game?
They came in with the #1 recruiting class, high school recruiting class. They went from last year having all these transfers, all these particularly Ivy League transfers, who fortified that team and allowed for JuJu to start taking off, right? Because it's really hard for someone to do it as a freshman. Now as a sophomore, she's capable of even more than she was last season. But you're finally, Kiki was the big get out of Stanford. That's what was supposed to be the most important addition to JuJu Watkins. And up to this point, it has fallen, frankly, flat. But if that can start surging now, I feel more confident in USC being a true #1 seed, which at this point in time, they are predicted to be a #1 seed. But it has felt a little flappy because it's just JuJu. And it's hard when it's just one player.
Well, we just saw one player drag a team all the way to a couple of back-to-back
She had a little bit of help along the edges. You can't be party of one.
Yet you
got to be party of one and then a smattering.
She was, and JuJu is also. Let's go. I love it.
Just another year in Big Ten women's basketball,
Just another year in Big Ten women's basketball. Let's go.
Anything you saw from over the weekend, basketball-wise?
No. I was.
Did you know they were doing a coin flip for the SEC?
I did see that. That is a ridiculous way to determine who the #1 seed is in your tournament. For those of you who don't know, the SEC women's basketball, as Greg Sankey flips this damn coin to determine between South Carolina and Texas, women's basketball, both Texas and South Carolina end with a 14-1 record in the SEC. South Carolina's one loss in conference, Texas. Texas's one loss in conference, South Carolina. So for some reason, they can't go to any of the other tiebreakers. I'm not sure if there are no other tiebreakers that exist or if they just said, nope, first thing we're going to do is flip a coin. And if we can't determine who the number one seed is after a coin flip, then we'll go to the rest of the tiebreakers.
For the SEC, it's their third option.
It's their third option.
Meanwhile, like the NFL, it's their 12th option.
Like, come on, man.
Other people have the option of a coin toss. It just takes longer to get there.
If
the
you go
SEC
through,
was like, we got these shiny coins.
If you go through 12, all right, F it. I don't want to sit through 13. Let's just flip a coin, right? Because there's not, honestly, there's probably not 12 reasonable tiebreakers.
So you don't think we should be quicker on the coin toss?
No.
You think we should make coin tosses more of a last resort?
Last resort.
I love a good coin toss. It's so easy.
Can you imagine?
There's two freaking options.
SEC football.
You remember tie game? No overtime.
No overtime. Just flip the coin.
Toss.
We're flipping
just
the
flip
coin.
A coin.
We're flipping the coin. How exciting
College football
that would
playoff. No seeding. Just flip a coin.
Flip the coin.
You take the 12 best teams. Just constant coin flips.
Let's go. Good stuff. Oh, and Maryland, Ohio State wackiness ensued. It's March. Last second buzzer beaters just mean more. Are we hitting buzzer beaters in November? Yep. December? Yep. But it just means different. She falls, keeps dribbles, so it's like a slide into the reverse. What a play by Ohio State.
In overtime.
7 seconds left. Overtime. Maryland's got the ball. Floater from three. Oh, it's great. They storm the court. And by they, I mean one Maryland player with 1 second left. She does not realize that it's 1 second left on the clock until now, and she scurries off of the court. No technical foul was called, which there shouldn't be because F Ohio State, I hate Buckeye Boy left, but F Ohio State. So now Ohio State gets the ball to inbounds with 1 second left, and they heave a third half-court shot, doesn't come close, ball game. Maryland should have absolutely been called for a technical in that one.
That's crazy.
That's some good stuff right there. Great officiating by the referees. Also, what a terrible way to lose.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
I'd rather you not call the tech in that situation most times, but if it's against Ohio State especially, don't call the tech. But if it was my team, you should have absolutely called the tech. This is the band is on the field, only minus the band and one person.
And it's a top 25 game.
Yep.
There were some good women's basketball games over the weekend. We kind of glazed over it, but I thought that Tennessee-Alabama game was spectacular. Was that Friday night? It was during one of the Grizzlies games.
Saturday.
It was Saturday as well. It was Saturday afternoon. Leading
yep.
into the Grizzlies game. That was very fun to watch.
I still don't know. Like, they're good.
They're very good.
I kind of want to rock with them.
Okay.
The Rick Barnes stuff aside.
Cool. Let's put our brackets up against each other.
The last,
because I'm going to take Auburn. I came to the conclusion watching the Auburn-Kentucky game.
I'm taking Auburn also. No, I'm not. I'm taking Michigan. But Auburn is going to go far. But
are you taking Michigan out of confidence or out of love?
Have you seen Danny Wolf play?
Yes, I have.
Have you seen
Thanks
Golden?
to you early on in the season.
Have you seen Area 51? Who's got the size and the length to stop those two in the pick and roll when time comes down to it, baby?
I can't waste precious wicked seconds on Michigan basketball. We should take a break.
Okay, there we go.
And then we're going to come back.
Okay.
And I'll talk about my favorites from the Academy Awards. Did you watch?
No.
So I'm going to tell you everything you need to know from the Academy Awards.
All right.
As quickly as I can. All right. We'll get into it when we come back.
For the record, I made the last two segments of the show all Oscars talk. You started talking about this other stuff.
I needed to talk about JuJu.
Okay, well, after JuJu, just go to the Oscars.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
If you go to a hustle game, you're going to see a very fast-paced game. A lot of action, both offensively, defensively.
Nice rejection right there.
In a great environment at the Lander Center. You could bring family there, kids are running around.
Down the lane and one for Zion Poland.
And then you're going to see a lot of talented basketball players competing at a high level.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
45-minute video on Tony Allen on YouTube.
I just saw it yesterday.
He managed to dominate the NBA for 14 years, despite missing one of basketball's most important skills. But here's the crazy thing.
Why does that hurt your feelings?
It didn't hurt my feelings.
It's
no.
positive.
He at least should have more of my highlights.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We did get a new shoe that dropped today that we should all be able to get if we want it.
Fire.
And it's been one people have been waiting for a long, long time.
Yep.
Asia Wilson. What do you guys think about the shoe?
I love it.
It looks great. We see people wearing Jaws. We see a lot of people wearing the GT line, but then also we see a lot of NBA players wearing the Sabrinas.
Sabrina, yeah.
I bet you there's gonna be a lot of NBA players wearing that.
I agree with you on that.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app. What teams do you think, other than Chiefs and Eagles, are going to be teams to reckon with next season?
I think the Ravens, the 49ers, the Bills, the Lions.
I think the Falcons are going to be good next year.
Well, y'all had like 4 straight losing record seasons. So.
Yeah, the question is, like, can you just get like 2 guys on defense? Like they scored 38 against the friggin' Panthers and lost the last week of the season. Like, you got to get some stops.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We got Southern Heritage Classic news. Mike, Tennessee State out. Where do you think the Classic goes from here? Is this a thing that sort of dooms this Classic, Southern Heritage Classic?
I don't ever bet against Fred Jones. I don't count Fred Jones out. You have to have the event. You have to continue to have the weekend, and a football game has to be part of it.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
All right, finally time to talk about the Oscars, or as Conan O'Brien called them last night, the 97th Long Form Content Awards. I thought Conan was great. Are you a Conan O'Brien fan, CJ?
I don't like any of the late night people.
Okay.
I did catch the open, and most of the jokes just
Right over the head?
Right over, because I didn't see any
watch
of
the movies.
those movies.
He had a funny Wicked joke. He had a lot of funny jokes, actually. And I thought the opener was great. He loves movies. How hard is this to find... We talk about this in the NBA all the time, and it struck me last night as very funny because some of the biggest criticisms on the Oscars and movie talk in general is it feels like the people talking about movies don't actually love movies or want to go see movies. Who does that sound like? It sounds like the people talking about the NBA don't actually like the NBA or want to watch the NBA. But I did think last night's Oscars was a testament to a lot of people who love movies. I thought Conan, with the cool little like substance thing early on, the continued running joke of the sandworm from Dune playing instruments made me laugh. He had the Drake joke, which was laugh out loud funny. He made a joke about Americans excited to see someone finally stand up to a powerful Russian. So for people who thought he would go completely no political jokes throughout, they were wrong. Saw a lot of people like, this is what we need, what Conan O'Brien's opening monologue was. He eventually got to it, and he was funny across the board. He kept things moving. That's what a host does. A host is by no means the best part of the Oscars, but it can make the Oscars significantly worse, and I really enjoyed having Conan O'Brien back on my screen. The greatest part of the night was the very, very beginning. And would you be surprised if I told you I cried? Real tears. My husband did not know what to do with me. He was like, aren't you happy? I was like, I'm crying tears of happiness. One, because Somewhere Over the Rainbow is just one of those top 5 songs where if I hear Somewhere Over the Rainbow, particularly the version, the Hawaiian version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, instantly will cry. But any version of it kind of works for me these days. And to see Ariana Grande pop up in the ruby red slippers with the ruby red dress and know how much playing Glenda meant to her, and then having the chance to open the Oscars, coming out of a nice little I Love LA bit that started the show, going into Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and then I didn't know where it was going to go from there. It goes into Cynthia Erivo doing Home from The Wiz. Big night for The Wiz. We had 3 Wiz songs on the Oscars. We had Home in the beginning. There was a Queen Latifah performance of Ease On Down the Road, which was part of a Quincy Jones tribute later on in the show. And then randomly, they started playing, oh God, what's the other song from The Wiz? Now I can't think of it off the top of my head. But it was the outro music after Anora won Best Picture. And I was like, what a fun-filled night for The Wiz. But to go from Ariana Grande doing Somewhere Over the Rainbow into Cynthia Erivo doing Home from The Wiz into the 2 of them doing Defying Gravity, it was so beautiful. And the funniest part is they can't do the biggest song of the 2 of those characters from Wicked because it would be a spoiler for part 2. Like, it would be natural for Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo to do For Good, but the movie audience of Wicked has not seen For Good yet. And For Good will be the most anticipated moment of part 2 of Wicked, so they can't sing that song together. So instead, it's the beginning part that features Ariana, and then it goes into Cynthia Erivo crushing Defying Gravity for yet another time. And one of the best pieces of camera work of the night was they did like a soft focus on Ariana Grande watching Cynthia Erivo sing Defying Gravity, and the look on Ariana Grande's face was just so sweet and admiring, and like, that's how I feel watching Cynthia Erivo sing that song. Could not have started the show in a better way. So I was already hooked. The night was already won.
So you telling me Wicked won all the awards?
No.
Oh.
They did win a couple.
Okay.
It did strike me watching Cynthia Erivo in the beginning, and I don't know why this, I actually don't know why this happened. But obviously the frontrunners for Best Actress turned into a 2-woman race between Mikey Madison and Demi Moore. And then there was some buzz for Fernanda Torres from the Brazilian film I'm Still Here, which won Best International Film, which, thank God, got up my couch and was audibly cheering. I would have never expected to be adamantly rooting against a musical, but Emilia Perez did things to me that no musical has ever done before. So I wanted them to lose everything. Zoe Saldana was fine. She was the one good moment of that movie, and her speech was very sweet. But I hated Emilia Perez, so I was happy I'm Still Here won. But watching Cynthia Erivo do the opening number, I was like, her performance was so damn good. And for whatever reason, it never swept into the she could actually win Best Oscar territory. And it made me think of when I was like a little kid and I would watch the Oscars. And if I was a kid watching the Oscars, I would have assumed there is no way Cynthia Erivo could not win for playing Elphaba in Wicked. And instead, I went into the Oscars having listened to all my movie podcasts and reading all my Oscars predictions and whatnot. And so I never thought Cynthia Erivo was going to win. But I still think she could have and should have. Like, that was one of the greatest performances. That's how I felt about Wicked. Wicked and Dune 2 were both victims of being movies that we no longer put into the sphere of, like, movies that win these awards. And I think that's a detriment to movies in general, because the most watched movie of the year was Wicked. So how hard would it have been to say, hey, you know what? Maybe Wicked could win Best Picture. Maybe Cynthia Erivo could win Best Actress. Maybe Ariana Grande could win Best Supporting Actress. But it didn't work. And that made me a little sad, if we're being completely honest. And Anora was my favorite movie of the year outside of Wicked. But I realized I was saying that. Like, Anora's my favorite movie of the year outside of Wicked. Wicked was nominated too. Why did I just so blindly start thinking, like, of course I want Anora to win Best Picture. Of course I want Mikey Madison to win Best Actress. It was a great film, but anyway.
They won Best Costume, right?
Yeah. First ever black man to win Best Costume Design.
Turn up.
I liked how they did the best costumes, how they did a handful of awards where they had like actors from the movie come out and introduce those. It added depth to people and some of the people who contribute to films that we don't normally give all of that credit to, which was nice to see.
Conan, the way he ended the monologue was good for the reason that you said. Where it is, yeah, we're going to award a bunch of stars, a bunch of really famous people that you guys know, but movies and some of these awards in particular, but movies overall are about the hardworking American people who work tirelessly, who don't get the fame and the notoriety that the actors and the actresses receive. So don't forget that. And I felt like we kind of forgot that during those LA fires. We was like, oh, there's rich people out there. F them. It's like, well, everybody's not rich out there.
No, they're not. The best supporting acting categories didn't get like movie clips. I'm big on the movie clips, and we got them for Best Actor and Best Actress, but we didn't get them for Supporting Actor and Supporting Actress. Instead, we got the presenter giving a little nod to all of the different people up for it. So it was Robert Downey Jr. for Best Supporting Actor, who I always love Robert Downey Jr. Kieran Culkin won that award. Talked about that a bit with Gary. And then Best Supporting Actress went to Zoe Saldana. As soon as Anora won for Best Screenplay, I felt like the sweep was in. And then that ended up being the case for Anora and Sean Baker, who I loved Sean Baker before Anora because I really loved the movie The Florida Project. It's one of my favorite movies of the last decade or so. We saw it in theaters on a random afternoon in Memphis, thought that it sounded interesting, and I just thought it was a really moving movie. And Sean Baker becomes the first since Walt Disney to earn 4 separate Oscars in one night in the editing, directing, original screenplay, and Best Picture categories. And I did love that Anora got recognized. And I do love the thought of people saying, oh, I only watch the Best Picture winner every year. And they turn on Anora, and it's just straight in the strip club off the bat. Let's go.
Which one was Anora was going to be my question. Okay.
Stripper who falls in love with a son of a Russian oligarch.
And this is
goes on this fun little journey.
This is the one where you're like, oh no, I recommended this to the random checkout lady
like my
at
dad,
Whole Foods.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And my dad just texted me this morning. He's like, did you like Anora? And like, I don't know how to answer.
Lie to him. No.
What a horrible movie.
No, I didn't like it. Did you?
Well, no, he hasn't seen it.
Okay.
So I don't know how to answer the question.
Tell him, no, I didn't like it that much. And then if he watches it, get his thoughts. How many of those scenes is it? Just the one?
I mean, it's like the first 40 minutes of the movie.
We got 40 minutes of action?
Yeah.
Where can I stream Anora?
You have to buy it or rent it. I think it's like $5 on Amazon or Apple.
Let me know when I can stream it.
It also has one of my favorite songs of the last year. It's like a song moment in a movie with Greatest Day. And so anyway, it was fun watching Anora win. A big upset was Best Animated Movie. I know that's something that interests you. Flow ended up winning, which is a Latvian movie, I believe. It beat The Wild Robot. And I loved The Wild. I cried like a baby in The Wild Robot.
Flo is the one with the cat.
The cat. Have you seen it?
I got through 45 minutes of that movie.
You didn't like it?
I was like, get this shit out of here.
It won Best Animated Picture.
What are we doing? This is why I don't watch. Remember this moment next year when you ask me if I watch the Oscars. Because this is why I don't watch the Oscars. They're completely out of touch with what I am as a person. Dad, what are we doing? Have you seen Flo? First off,
no,
nobody,
I haven't. I thought the Wild Robot had it in the bag, so I didn't even bother to watch it.
Nobody is speaking in Flo. It's just a stray cat.
It's with the flow.
It's a stray cat meandering about in the woods. Some stray dogs come up and chase the cat. Then for some reason, the dam breaks. I'm assuming it's a dam because a big old flood happened. So now it's a cat on a boat with a capybara, and there's a crane flying around a crane, like water eagle. I forget what they're, crowned eagle, I think is what we call them. I forget, just a long-legged bird, that waterfowl that kicks it around water and eats things, flies through and grabs this cat because it's lunchtime, I guess, and then drops the cat, and the cat lands in the water and gets pulled out by the capybara. Like it's
well, it won.
That's a terrible movie to have win.
I just realized what time it is. I gotta go quick. There was a James Bond tribute that was so weird.
Why are we tributing James Bond?
I don't know. That's never won an Academy Award. I don't know.
And it's
there's
not a
a new
James
one
Bond
yet.
movie.
At first, they had Margaret Qualley out, and I was like, oh, is she gonna be the new Bond girl? And then it went from her to Doja Cat to Ray, who I do love Ray. The next Adele, as they're calling her, and by they, I mean me at this point. They used the weirdest song for In Memoriam. It was Mozart's Requiem, and I could not get over it. They also didn't include Michelle Trachtenberg, who literally just died last week. Obviously, they went heavy on Gene Hackman, appropriately so, and he was such a recent death, but the fact that there were two, I just thought it was she was in Eurotrip. It's not like she only did television. Anyway, we lost a lot of greats, but Mozart's Requiem sounded like we were in the middle of the most like ominous horror movie moment. Two people to thirst over, my two best looks of the night. Halle Berry, forever and always, my God. Like, she stuns. And she had a little like get back moment on Adrian Brody, because if you remember when Adrian Brody won the first time around, he like kissed her and it was super weird, and then she came and kissed him on the red carpet, so we're still doing that. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't point out Andrew Garfield.
You just got a theme for this dude.
My entire timeline is Andrew. I interact with too much Andrew Garfield content because the fact that I'm getting Andrew Garfield Brazil on my feed is a problem.
I didn't even realize that.
It's a problem, but please. Andrew Garfield's look, and he was out there with Goldie Hawn, and he was like holding her, and like I don't know if she knew who Andrew Garfield was, but they were presenting together for Best Animated Picture. Andrew Garfield, I will follow you into the abyss. Beautiful man, beautiful people. That was the Oscars. Hold on, there was one award that I just wanted to point out. I know, I have 10 seconds. It was for Best Documentary, and I forget what the name of the Best Documentary was, but it was a really beautiful speech, and you should go back and watch it, and I'm gonna go do the documentary. No Other Land is the name of the movie, and it did not get a distributor in the US, and that is a problem. Okay, bye.